Hey everyone, welcome to another episode. I am your host, the only Kayla, and today I have a very special guest. Today I have the pleasure of speaking with Married at First Sight's breakout star, GIL. GIL, how are you feeling?
I am great. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm good, good. So I'm very happy to have you because I'm actually a fan of Married at First Sight, but this season was actually the first season that I watched every episode religiously. So, like I said,
Okay.
I'm happy to have you. Um, when you kind of like look back and like sit down and kind of analyze the situation, isn't it crazy to you that you are literally like a breakout star from this show?
So first and foremost, thank you for having me. Secondly, yes, I'm always surprised. I get this question asked a lot. I'm not overwhelmed because I just don't let it consume me, but it is pretty insane how it literally like happened overnight.
Yeah. I think that if there was like an award for getting the most followers in like a day, you'd probably have win that award. Cause I remember when I first tried to look up your Instagram, like during the show, you try to look up the cast members, see ahead of time, like, oh, let's see if they're, still together and things like that. And you only had like a few hundred followers and your page was private. And now you're at over 100,000. That's insane.
Yeah, it's funny because I took a screenshot of how many followers I had right before I went public. So when I was private, I think I had 458 total followers. And, I was happy with my 458. And then as soon as I went public, I mean, it went from 458 to 5,000 to 7,000 to 10,000 in like a matter of 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. It was already at 10,000. It was crazy.
Yeah, I remember when I went back to your page after I guess everyone took their page off of private. I was like, what? Like this is crazy. So I can only imagine how you felt in that moment. Tell me a little bit about what made you want to go on the show. And did you apply yourself? Because I know sometimes there's like family members or friends who will apply for, someone else.
So I did not apply myself. I was recommended by somebody, which I to this day still do not know who that person is.
Wow.
But they put my name and my number down and they contacted me. And what made me go on the show was some friends. I would definitely say they had to do a lot with it because that was the one that kind of like pushed me to it. But also, I mean, I wanted to be married. I was eager to see how this worked, how this experience was gonna be, or experiment, as some people call it. And I was willing to do, whatever the experts thought was best. And so that's why I decided to do it. I mean, I do want to be married. I did want it to be married. I still do want to be married. So it was definitely something I look forward to doing after the fact that I said yes.
So what was your reaction when you first got that call? Like, hey, we want you to be a part of this show. You've been selected. And then once I guess you made that decisive decision, were you nervous at all? Like to know that you
So
were going to get married to someone you had no idea who they were?
I never was nervous. I can admit that. I can admit that to the fullest 100%. I was never nervous. I had second thoughts here and there throughout the process, but I was never nervous. When I first got the call, I didn't pick up the phone. I got a text message saying, hey, this is such and such, and just wanted to talk to you about a show that's coming to Houston, this, that, and the other. So that's when I called him back. He gave me the rundown, and I told him, I never heard it. I told him I never heard of the show. Just give me about a week. I mean, give me about 5 to 7 days to do my research and decide whether if I wanted to go forward with it or not. And he was like, cool, no problem. So went to Netflix, found a season, binge watched it for the 2 to 3 days that I watched it, and then called up some friends that they had been avid fans of the show. They'd been watching it since season one. I never heard of the show. And so I was like, okay, what y'all think? And then, one after another, everybody said yes, it was unanimous. And then I thought about it and I was like, well, I mean, what the heck? I mean, why not?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I think it's a really cool concept. I think it's crazy, but I think it's a really cool concept that, you get to deal with these experts and that you get to marry someone and then kind of go through the motion. Obviously, this season there was a lot of ups and downs with all of the relationships, all of the couples. But I thought it was pretty cool how they do have experts there to help navigate your marriage concerns and things like that. What would you say you've learned the most from these experts that you can take on to your next relationship?
One thing I remember Pastor Cal saying a lot was that, he told both my wife and I to protect our marriage, that our marriage is a sacred bond. And, now we can have whatever circle we already had in the past, but now there's another new circle between just her and I, and we should protect that at all costs. Don't let other outside influences derail our goals in life. So, I mean, it's something that we kind of know, but we really just don't really stick to it a lot. As humans, we all kind of mess up when it comes down to that, because we do allow others to dictate how we think and how we feel about certain things. But when it comes down to the marriage aspect, he just said protect the marriage, and at all costs, it's between herself and I.
Yeah, that's some good advice. I've always liked Pastor Cal too. He always keeps
Yeah.
it real. So
Oh, I love it. He's straight shooter, straight shots,
mhm.
no chaser. I love Pastor Cal.
I think he is based in Atlanta, which is where I'm at. So I was like, I gotta go visit his church. I gotta go
That's
and check
dope.
it out.
Okay, that's cool.
So spoiler alert, obviously, for anyone who has not seen or finished the season, but you were obviously with your wife, and after the 90 days, you both decided whether you wanted to stay married or not. I'll be honest, I was shocked because I thought you were going to say no. I thought you were going to say no only because while obviously me and my family we love the show. So while we were watching it, I was like, I don't think he's gonna say yes because he's made it apparent of what he does not like, and it didn't seem to change based on like obviously what the cameras show, because I know, they only show you a certain part of everything. So I honestly was like, I think he's gonna say no. What made you say yes? Because again, you made it very apparent the things that your pet peeves and what you wanted in a marriage.
Correct. I think it shocked a lot of people. A lot of people to this day was like, I can't believe you actually said yes. Well, to easy answer to that is just the conversations we had, not only on camera, but off camera. We had some conversations, and the fact that we both decided that we were going to do whatever it takes to make this marriage last. And so conversations that we had surrounding that made it easy for me to be like, okay, if she's in it, then I'm definitely in it. And so the fact that I thought, we had each other's back and we was going to make this a long-term thing, and do whatever we had to do to make this right, is what made it easy for me to say yes on decision day.
Now, you did mention at the reunion that it was a short time after you guys decided, yes, we want to go forward, that the split happened. How soon was that? And what was that conversation like?
So 14 days. It was 14 days after we filmed our last, when we had our last filming, I should say, after the cameras left, and it was a wrap. So then it was 14 days after we moved in the first of the month, and by the 10th of that month, she told me she didn't want to no longer be with me. That conversation was awkward. It was awkward because I didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
I'm usually not, it's rare for me to have an awkward conversation with anybody. So it's just something, my gut was telling me something was up. And so I asked her if something was up. Unfortunately, I was at work, so I couldn't do this face to face. And I do work 24-hour shifts as a firefighter. And so I couldn't do it face to face. And so I asked, and I asked her if something was up, and she said yes. And so I wanted her to elaborate on it. She didn't want to at the time because she wanted to do it face to face, which I completely agreed with her. But I told her, hey, I don't get home until tomorrow. You can't let me go to sleep knowing something's wrong and I don't know what's wrong. Can you at least give me a hint? And so she said, she just talked in circles, and I was like, all right, well, let me just make it easy for you. Let me ask you this one question and then we'll keep going after that. I was like, do you still want to be with me? And she paused and said no. And so then I paused, and then she said, so now what do we do? And I said, well, I'll figure it out when I get home tomorrow. And then I hung up, and that was that. And then we didn't talk about it again until I actually got home the next day. And it was just a lot of back and forth.
Yeah.
Nothing definitive. It was just a lot of, well, is this, that, and it was the same thing she was been saying. It was nothing new, but for me, it was like, so, I mean, like, why go through decision day? Why go through let me sell my stuff knowing that you knew I was selling my stuff? Like, why go through all of that knowing that if this is how you felt from the beginning, apparently, like, I can't tell her how she can feel. And if that's how she felt, that's perfectly fine. But at least communicate that with me so we can kind of be on the same page here. And, you know, obviously I wanted it to last. It didn't last. Okay, cool. I know it takes two. So if you didn't want to be in it, I would have been like, okay, well, it sucks, but it's a pill you got to swallow and just do what you got to do.
Yeah, that is so, I couldn't imagine being in that situation, but obviously you're out of that now. And again, when I think when we saw you guys on the reunion and you guys revealed that you were no longer together, it was shocking for all of us just because, you know, we were all watching the same season and we saw how in love she was, or I don't know, but the way it
She
seemed was that
appeared,
yes. And that was going to be my next question was like, do you think that she kind of continued with, how do I word this? Do you think it was all for the cameras because the cameras were rolling basically?
Okay,
Like,
so yeah, I had a feeling he was going to say that. So I can't truly say that.
yeah.
I would say no. I'm not going to say that. I don't think she did it for the camera. But I don't know. Also, I could be wrong as well. But because the reason I say that because I don't think you do the things that you do just for the cameras. Like, you know, she didn't kiss me for a month, right? She could have just continued.
The ladies were shocked. Okay.
Yeah, she could have just continued not kissing me, right? She could have never just kissed me, but then she decided to kiss me and then decided to get very, very touchy, very affectionate and things of that matter. Now, somebody that's just doing it for the cameras is just gonna continue being offsetting. They're just gonna be like, nah, this, you know what? I'm not here. Because no matter what, it's gonna get filmed. You got to get through. It's not like you can just quit in the middle of it. You know, you signed a contract. So I'm gonna say no. I don't think she did it for the cameras. One thing that she did tell me is that she never felt it, but she was just trying to go through the motions and seeing that eventually the feelings would come, and the feelings never came. And so, and to my response to her was, that's fair and all, but how about you communicate that with me? You know, just let me know, hey, this is how I'm feeling.
Right.
I'm really trying, but this is where I'm feeling now. And so I would have been like, okay, cool. I see that. I hear you. I respect you. Then let me fall back a little bit and give you time for whatever you need and then go from there. But there was no communication. So for me, I was gung-ho from the beginning. I went head first. And I mean, we are where we are now.
Mm-hmm. And that would make sense because if that conversation would have happened even midway, like throughout the marriage, I think it would have helped you because you would have had a better understanding of, hey, this might work, this might not. Like there's a chance of it all. But like if you have someone constantly telling you, like, you know, I love you, and I don't know, whatever else that solidified the marriage, it could blindside you, which I'm sure it did.
Absolutely. It absolutely did. The conversation would at least make me a little more hesitant on decision day. I would have been like, okay, well, let's actually think about this. We don't have to say yes on decision day, but just like you say yes on decision day, you can still break up afterwards. You can say no on decision day and still stay together. So it's not a for sure permanent thing. It's just the TV is going to show this. So I don't think, you know, I hope she didn't feel pressured to say yes because we spoke about it beforehand and I told her I was going to say yes. I mean, obviously we both knew we was going to say yes because we talked about me not renewing my lease, what apartment we was going to move into, how we were going to, you know, share space and all of this stuff. So that conversation was like, everything was good. And if in her mind, if it wasn't, it's fair, but it's not fair to me because I didn't know.
Right. Right. So after the reunion aired, there was like another special episode that Married at First Sight kind of had, kind of like I don't know if it was like a spinoff, but they had like an extra episode of like where you guys are today, all of the couples. And
where are they now?
Yes, where are they now? So, during that episode, we saw that you were actually going to therapy, and you revealed that you two actually do not have any communication whatsoever. Are you still in therapy, and how is that going in your process of healing?
Yes, I am still in therapy. I love it. It is amazing. I am a huge advocate of therapy. I talk about it all the time. Any interview, any podcast, any live I do, I always talk about therapy because I feel like it's gonna help everybody, no matter if you're in a good place or a bad place. It helped me tremendously. Something I should have did way before Married at First Sight. It just helps me organize my thoughts and helps me focus on what I need to focus on for the time being, and helps me understand that good things happen and bad things happen. It is what it is. Just face them. Don't sweep them under the rug like I used to do. And just face them for what it is. And whatever emotion that you feel it, go through it, because right behind it or after it, you're gonna feel much better. So therapy is huge for me. I'm to this day, I'm still going to therapy, and I don't see myself not going to therapy anytime soon.
No, I think that's amazing. And I think it's also amazing how after this whole thing happened and it was obviously televised that you chose to go to therapy and chose to heal, as opposed to, that human nature of I'm gonna just get with all these other women, especially now that you have all of this like stardom. But I
Yeah,
think
it's crazy.
so like speaks to your character as a man that you chose healing rather than, being on the streets.
Yeah, nah, I'm done with the streets. I've been for the streets for a long time. I decided that's not what I want to do anymore. If I was younger, for sure, especially now, especially because I literally don't have to do anything. It's like the stuff that I get in my DMs is insane, but that's not what I want. I still want a marriage. I still want a healthy relationship. And so the only way I can do that is by being healthy. I can't go into a relationship being toxic and having all these past trauma, bringing it into my new relationship. So I decided that I feel like the best thing for me was going to be to heal myself first, make sure I'm okay. So when I come into my next relationship, I can only not be the person y'all saw, but 10 times better than that, because I'm healthier for it.
Mm-hmm. Now, I have to ask, the ladies want to know, is GIL on the market? Are you single or are you seeing someone?
I am not seeing someone. I am not on the market. I'm on the sidelines for right now. So I'm still healing, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I'll be there soon. I'm kind of like letting this the holidays and all this stuff to kind of pass by, because everybody, it's cuddle season, it's boost season, and so I'm gonna let it all kind of like just
let it ride out.
Take care of their families and stuff like that. And I feel like 2022, I'll definitely be back in the game and ready to play.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know the ladies are waiting because, like I said, you have over 100,000 followers, and the comments that you get, I could only imagine what your DMs look like. Now that you kind of have all this attention on you, and everyone kind of knows you as a person, knows a little bit about your character, knows about your story in a sense. Do you find it harder to find love now, getting back out there? Because I guess you don't really know if you're like a celebrity now. So it's like, you don't really know if someone's being genuine or like trying to take advantage of the situation. Like, is it actually, because sometimes people may think like, oh, now it's probably easier to find love. But in my opinion, I would think that it would be harder because you have all this attention and everybody knows you now.
Yes, I agree. You don't know people's true intentions. So I do believe it's going to be a little tougher, but at the end of the day, you got to get out there. Like if my goal is to find love and be married, I can't just sit around and wait for somebody to just knock on my door and be like, here I am. So I have to go out there and trust my instincts, stick to what makes me me. Know my deal breakers and go from there. And at the end of the day, you can't BS a BS. So I know all the tricks of the game. So it's just more about just meeting people, dating them. Obviously, I'm not going to marry the first person I date. It's going to take some time, right? So, see what their true intentions are, because people will tell you who they really are if you just listen.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know there was like some chatter on Twitter about that you should be the next bachelor. Would you consider would you consider doing something like that or getting back into reality television to find love? Or I think are you just gonna stay true and just do it the old-fashioned way?
So no, I have zero interest in The Bachelor. I've seen the petition going around for me to be the next Bachelor. I wouldn't do any reality TV that has to deal with dating or marriage anymore. Like I would do another reality TV show for sure. If it's something that has to do like some type of athletic competition or some type of race or some type of Dancing with the Stars, something like that. Yeah, I'm a
That'd be
Big
cool.
Brother. That'll be awesome. Stuff like that'll be cool. But if I have to find love or be, nah, I don't want nothing to do with that at all. I'm gonna try to find that the organic way, just like it's like how we were doing it before all this reality TV came about. So that's what I'm sticking with.
Okay, good answer. um, so this season, when the season started, obviously like every season, everything is kind of like you're like in the honeymoon phase, right? Not just in your marriage, but even with the other couples, right? Everyone gets along, everyone has this great relationship. And then you see how like throughout the season it kind of runs its course and you kind of see certain people drift away, or depending on how the outcome for certain couples are, then you see like, okay, I can't talk to this one because I'm cool with this one. What is your relationship like with the other cast members? I know in the Where Are They Now, you had a really close relationship with Michaela. Are you guys still cool? Are you cool with anyone else that you were on the season with?
So I occasionally speak with Michaela. I'm cool with Michaela. I think the person I speak with the most, which is seldomly, but I would say is the most out of everybody, is Ryan.
Okay.
I speak to him maybe like once every 3 to 4 weeks, like once a month, but he's the most consistent out of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I don't really speak to anybody else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now also I've never been to Texas, so I'm not sure how big or small where you guys are. Do you guys ever randomly run into each other? I was wondering that. Like, I wonder if you guys ever randomly like going to a restaurant and you just kind of see one of your cast members there.
So first of all, you definitely need to come visit. It's
I know I want to
great.
go.
Yeah, especially Houston. I'm not gonna speak for the whole state of Texas, but there's a couple cities here that I would definitely say you need to come by. Especially you're in Atlanta. They always
Yeah.
say that Houston is like a bigger Atlanta. So there you
I've
go.
heard that.
Yeah, I can. Yes, Houston's a big city, but it's a small town feel. So we can definitely, the possibilities of us running into each other is very high. I typically don't go out a lot. And so I doubt if that's going to happen with me, but it could definitely happen because I know where they hang out, where a few of them like to hang out. And so, and I've gone to those places, so I could easily run into them. So that's a high possibility.
Yeah. So do you kind of just like, you know what, let me not even go there because I don't even want to run into them.
Yeah, it's like I tell people, because people ask me that question all the time, and I tell them, I'm like, look, okay, do you hang out with every coworker you ever worked with?
No, not
even if you were friends with them at your job, y'all was just friends at the job. So that's how I look at it. I'm like, hey, we worked together, we did this thing together, we were cool then, but I don't need to keep up with them. Like I wouldn't have been cool with them before the show. So I'm not about to be fake and be cool with them after. Like it is what it is. We spent time together. We did that. I have no ill towards them. They're all cool. I wish them all the best, but that doesn't mean we brothers and sisters for life.
Right. Now, were you shocked at all that none of the couples stayed together this season? Or did you kind of expect that?
No. I'm very shocked. Number one reason why I'm shocked, it's the reason why I'm shocked and the reason why I'm not shocked at the same time is because I believe we were the oldest cast of MAFS. Like we were all 35 between, Zach was the youngest at 27, but the second youngest him was 33 and everybody else was like 34, 35. So I feel like at that age, most people at that age, if you know you want to get married, you're going to get married. Like you're going to do whatever it takes or whatnot. But I also feel like because a lot of them are set in their ways and sometimes people just don't want to change for nothing. They don't matter. It could be you can have something great in front of you, but because they are set in their ways and they do things specifically like this, that, and the other, they are not going to accommodate for somebody else. And when you've been single for so long, you're so used to certain things a certain way, it's hard to adjust. And I feel like that stubbornness might have just, you know, kind of like help influence people not to stay together. And so I am shocked that nobody stayed together, and a little disappointed, because if you really wanted it, I feel like there should have been a little more fight for it from most of the couples.
Yeah, I saw people on Twitter were like, I think the experts need to go back to the drawing board, because the fact that not one couple stays together this season was shocking. I think obviously if you watch the season, you know which couples were obviously not going to make it. But there were other couples that, you know, you were like, oh, wow, you know, like I see potential in them. Were you also shocked at all that there were some couples that didn't work out, but then kind of worked out with other cast members in the same season? If you kind of get what I'm saying.
I'm not.
You don't have to talk about it too much, but just, I guess.
I mean,
shocked,
obviously I heard about it. I try not to, if it ain't about me, I try to stay out of it. Right. Yeah. But I heard about it. It got to me, obviously. I don't condone that at all. That's something that, that doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah.
And so I don't have nothing nice to say about it. So I'd rather not say anything. Put it like that.
I remember reading about it, and I was like, oh, this is definitely just like bochinche. This is just chisme. Like,
exactly.
So I was like, let me not even. But then when it kind of came out, I was like, oh, okay. But whatever.
It was some real chisme. It was legit.
For real. And it was funny because there are like some avid, like Married at First Sight followers that will dig deep, and I don't know how they come up with this information, but like the information about some of the couples came out, and I was like, what? How in the
I don't know how they get this out,
man,
but they better than the FBI when it comes down to that stuff. They get details that I don't even know sometimes, like, and I was there and I'm like, what? That happened? So it's crazy.
So tell everyone again, we know that throughout this season, we know that you are a firefighter and you love what you do. Give everyone an update about your career and where you are today.
So as of today, I'm still a firefighter for the city of Houston. I'm currently in a paramedic program. I'm halfway through, only have about four and a half months left, and then I'll be back on the streets. So currently on vacation. They gave us a break, a week off, and then we kick back up next week, right after Christmas. And just trying to move up on the ladder of success at the fire department, and continue serving my community.
Awesome. Also, what advice would you give to anyone who may have been in your same situation of, being blindsided, falling in love, and really trying to make something work? What advice would you give them?
Man, the biggest thing I would say, one, therapy. Number one, go seek some therapy. It's gonna help. Two is ride that emotion. Ride those emotions, a wave of emotions, because you're gonna feel good some days, you're gonna feel horrible some days. I was literally depressed for a long time. I was depressed for about 2.5 months. I can honestly say that I was in a very, very dark place. And I wouldn't suggest anybody do what I did. So this was before I went to therapy, or actually I went to therapy, didn't really care for it, and kind of like stopped going. So during the time that I stopped going, I just went to a very dark place, and I kind of like just didn't speak to anybody. I couldn't shut my phone off because I was still working. But if I could have shut my phone off, my phone would have been off. I wasn't answering phone calls. I wasn't responding to text messages. I would not suggest that. I'd say do the opposite of that. So there are people that care about you. You don't have to speak to everybody, but those people that you really do care about, and the people that that just want the best for you, I say stick to those people and listen to them, and just have somebody that's willing to listen to you. Because what helped a lot for me was just talking, just letting it out. Not obviously just venting. I guess I don't need anybody's opinion. I just need an ear. Just listen. No judgment. I don't need your opinion. Don't butt in, please. Just let me talk. Let me get it out. And I would say do that, and let whatever emotion that you feel, If you need to cry, cry. If you need to yell, yell. Whatever is it that you need to do, just do it. As long as you're not hurting yourself. And remember that it's just a storm, and storms don't last.
Awesome. Well, that's great advice. So as we wrap up this interview, I like to play a fun little game with my guests. It's called 5 questions nobody ever asks. So it's a really fast, rapid fire segment. I'm gonna ask you 5 questions, okay?
Hey,
Don't worry,
let's do
I don't
it.
ask anything like super crazy. I'm just 5 questions that people probably wouldn't ask in an interview.
Okay,
So
cool.
first question is, who is the most famous contact in your phone? I usually ask that to everybody. I don't know if you've gotten a number from somebody famous recently. Who is the most famous contact in your phone?
Kevin Frazier.
Okay, good. Question number 2, what show are you currently binging or watching right now?
What show am I currently? No, I'm not watching any. Oh, yes, I am. Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Okay, good show. Question number 3, what is your favorite Christmas movie? Do you have one?
Man, I have a bunch that's tied for one, but I'm gonna go with Home Alone 2.
Okay. Question number 4, if you were to win the lottery today, what would be your first purchase?
I would buy a Nestle Toll's House store so I can get free chocolate chip cookies.
That's a good one. Question number 5, I know that you are Colombian, you are Latino, so I have to ask you, who is your favorite Latin artist?
Oh, Gilberto Santa Rosa.
Perfect. That was a great one. Well, GIL,
Yes.
thank you so much for virtually stopping by. We had a great conversation. It was great to get to know you more on a different level, and I'm sure that our audience and your fans will love to hear from you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. This was fun.